Hey guys, Ryan here again. Currently playing for Zomblers, and today I'm going to be going over Post Plant on Season. And this is one of the maps where Post Plant's really critical. There's been a lot of times where we've gotten the bomb down, and due to poor Post Plant and poor positioning, we've lost the rounds that have really cost us matches. I can remember quite a few off the top of my head from last season. So let's jump right into it. We're going to start off, if we're a terrorist, and talking about pretty much where we plant. The normal plant spot is usually right here at these bricks that I'm going to switch to the terrorist team. Yeah, at A, the normal plant spot's usually at the bricks. The reason it's the normal plant spot is because you can't be seen from CT spawn. And most teams attack through upper A, so this is just a common place to plant. You always plant usually right here. The other spots you'd plant from are usually here, and what's important about planting here is when you're a terrorist, you don't want to plant like right here. This is a bad spot to plant. The reason why is because CTs can come up and defuse it from right here. So when you actually plant here, what you want to do is, remember the whole reason you're planting here is so you can't be seen from spawn. So instead of planting up on this box, you want to plant like a little bit back like this, or even a little over, because you're still not going to be seen from spawn. And this way, you're really doing your team a favor, because if you have a teammate in Horseshoe, and say it's like a 1v1 situation, and if he starts defusing from behind that box, you're not going to be able to kill him, unless you get lucky and maybe spam him. So you want to make him have to defuse in the open. So typical post plant spots for when you plant at the sandbags, what you should do is, if you have 3 people alive, the way I always tell my teams to kind of roll through this is to have one guy in this horseshoe, and this guy pretty much doesn't need to be peeking. Well, he can like spot peek or whatever, maybe flash or whatever. And good flash is usually for this, so you can like flash off over the wall like that. If you see where this lands out in the middle of the site, or if you know there's no one coming upper, well, you probably want to jump when you do this, but you can throw that flash and whatnot. But this guy just needs to pretty much stay alive and just call when people are pushing up to him. If you have 3 people alive, like I said, you want to have a guy probably right here too, and this is a good crossfire. And the reason you have this guy here is CTs will run up, and if they know this guy's been peeking around, they'll be like, oh, he's in a horseshoe, so he'll come up and try to kill this guy, but then he has his back to you and you just get the free kill. Now your third guy, what I like to have him do is, I like to have him back here. And the reason he should be back here is because teams will come up and they'll usually throw like that flash, and that flash isn't going to get you if you're standing back here. And the best part about this is you kind of just bait your team. As bad as it is, it's good in post plant, and you just come and peek the planter after these two. If these 2 guys die, you just play the bomb, but pretty much you're just sitting back here as insurance, so your team doesn't get pushed and you don't get flashed. Like if the CTs flash this guy, you know, and they're pushing up, like your team should be calling that their flash, and you can just come up and get the trade kill or kill them and save your teammate. Other than that, I think that's the best setup in post plant, to have 3 people up there. I've seen terrorists, win like 1v3s just because they're playing up here, and all they do is CTs will tap the bomb, they'll shoulder peek, make sure they're on it, and if he's on it, you know, repeat kill him, and then just run back, and once they hear it again, do the same thing, pretty much. It's so critical to just keep control dungeon. Also, this guy should be pretty much watching for the flank when he's not doing anything. He just doesn't need to mindlessly stand here like this. He should be watching for the flank like this, because what a lot of teams do when they're retaking A lately is they come in through the squeaky door if they're retaking through cat, and then they'll have one guy flank up or 2. Another good post plant that I like, if you can't get horseshoe for some reason, or if you only have like one guy up here, is to have a guy in pit. And this guy's pretty much just lurking in pit because chances are he's going to be the one to win the round. And a guy at bucket. Now the reason you'd have this setup is because CTs would have an offer up here, and say you just couldn't get up there, or they're picking you off when you try to get up there if you had 2 teammates that were up here. So if you have a guy in pit, a guy on cat, and then your other teammate can just be lurking around, whether it's sight, he's lurking around here, peeking, giving these people a bunch of havoc peeks, which I don't like peeking from the bomb zone too much, or if he's just up here lurking, just in case. it's always good. And the way you just play this is, I mean, it's post plant. If you have a smoke, throw it down, and then the key thing here is not to die, because if you die from a flanking CT from mid, you give them a one-way smoke to look into the side through. Now, if your teammate's not in horseshoe, if you have 3 people alive, like I pretty much always example is, if you have one guy in pit, you know, lurking around the bridge, one guy bucket, if you can have your 3rd teammate back here as insurance, again, that's crucial. If you know no one's flanking, there's 2 things you can do. You can go through door and get through upper and peek the planner, or you can just be insurance on cat. If this guy dies and the guy in pit dies, you can come over and just peek the ball. I'd like to say the same post plant goes for when you plant at the site too. If you plant in this spot, pretty much I'd say the recommended post plant's holding cat. But again, this post plant would probably work if you had one guy here, just lurking around an upper, one guy holding here. And if you actually, this is actually one of the few cases where if you can get a guy across the CT upper and hold it, that's good too. Because if you have a guy in here holding this, and then as soon as they tap the bomb, you know, he comes out and peeks when the bomb's there, that's good. I like having a guy across when you plant there, but when you're planting at sandbags, it can get risky. Like I've seen, or I've been in situations where I've been in that dungeon over there, I've been here, and my teammate's been here, and they'll tap the bomb, and I have to peek to make sure they're not on it, and I'll peek, and then I might kill that guy, you know, but the other guy will just lock the bomb instantly then, and my teammate can't get to it in time or something from over here, which is kind of risky. That's why it's nice to get control of that, but it can really hurt you sometimes in the post-plant situation. So sometimes I'd recommend just going across when your teammate's playing here, which I don't know what you guys call these. We just call them very generically sight boxes. Other than that, post plant at A is fairly simple. Post plant at B is a little more complex. The normal plant spot at B is the triple box. Very simply, we call this box triple, double, and big box. And that way everyone knows what we're talking about. And then pit box if somebody's jockeying this or whatever. Anyways, when we take a site, we get in quickly and plant. And then afterwards, the only spot in sight we'll get to really is right here. I don't like being in pit or being right here or anywhere in the site. The safest spot is either right here or anywhere around here that isn't in the site. So what we usually do post plant, if it's planted right there, or even if it's planted right here, I'd really recommend, to the best of your efforts, not to plant on the box again. You need to try to plant. I know you're exposed to upper here, but you really gotta be smart and try to get the bomb down so people can't defuse from behind the box, even though you can spam it. I mean, if you absolutely have to, you have to, but ideally you don't want to. So post plant here, what you want to do is have one guy in lower, and usually when you take B, you usually have a smoke left in. This is probably one of the best smokes in the game here because you can see completely through it. And you're just able to pick jail, you're able to pick CT spawn, upper, site, whatever, as long as you're lurking in the smoke. You don't even have to peek if you don't want. You can just kind of hide back. And this is risky because, I mean, this guy has to be peeking almost, and teams will just come in and flash and put pressure on you and post up, and then it makes it really hard to peek and get the planner, or the diffuser, I mean. But what your other 2 people are doing is one guy should be watching the flank, and you should be watching it safely and very actively calling it. Just, you know, peek here, or even if you want to play this spot, and wait till they come up. But this is dangerous because they can come up and maybe shoot your lower guys, so you probably want to be peeking from here. And then your other guy should be in upper. And good spots in upper. I'm always a fan of peeking like this for when they come out because it looks kind of awkward to them. They can't really see your head too well. So I always usually get up on this railing and I'll watch for them to come out upper, or I'll throw smoke down and lurk out of that. And pretty much I'm just burning my nades, delaying them in sight, calling if they're on bomb or not. And this is pretty much the ideal setup you want to have. If you have a guy, if you have a 4th guy, I'd say have him here maybe, and just kind of hug this wall, maybe throw flashes out of here, like so, once they're getting in close in sight or whatnot. Just quick flashes like that, and then have this guy peek if he's diffusing. And I mean, you gotta be really careful. if there's an upper for one post plant. So like I said, you might want to be hugging this wall and then have this guy watch the flank, come up and do the first peek after he sees no one's flanking if they tap the bomb. And you just got to be really wary of having people come in the site like that and get the peek on you, so you want to have a good setup here. If you can push across and get 2 people in upper, that's not a bad idea either. And I mean, it's at your discretion pretty much to push across once you take the site, but if you have a guy right here in this corner just kind of lurking, and then you have another guy, you know, right here just peeking in and out and baiting him in, like, that's fine as long as you planted smartly, because chances are you're not watching the flank when you push across like that, or your flank's kind of weak, and you just want to have a good plant when you're in that situation, so you can, like, if you pushed across, this is a good spot to plant right here, because think about it, you can just come upper and come across, shoot the planter, come back down, or you can come around and probably not able to see it here, but if you plant in the middle of the site, you'd be able to also, if you're just controlling CT spawn. Post plant on this site's pretty hard because retakes are fairly easy, except the rotations on this map are really spaced out, so that's the only thing that really hinders retakes. If this map was a lot smaller, like Contra or whatever, like, it'd be impossible for the site probably. Teams would probably just play an op at each site and then just rotate the rifles around like mad, but luckily it's not the case. And again, another good post plant spot, if you can push across, I mean, it's risky. Like, if you can get a guy, you know, in this corner, and then another guy maybe in jail or whatever, just kind of lurking, maybe taking pop shots, baiting him out for him to come in, like, that's fine too, but I mean, it's at your discretion. Most of the time though, teams are going to be rotating already, and it's extremely hard, and that's when you have to get into that passive setup where you have pretty much no one in sight, you have a guy lower using that smoke, another guy watching the flank, and another guy upper, and you just all got to call what you're watching and when you're peeking. And the best thing to do when the bomb's down and a CT taps it, you got to say, alright, so-and-so's peeking first. So it'd be like, if it was our team, I'd be like, alright, I'm peeking first. And, you know, I'd maybe kill the diffuser, and I'll say, diffuser's down, and then chances are you have a good death cam. You can be like, he's not on it still, or he's diffusing, he's locking at peak, and then both your teammates peek, or if he's not on it, you just have one of them peek or something. You just have to be really smart and calm when you're in those post-plant situations as a terrorist on this map, and have good communication. Now, retaking sites on this is pretty difficult because of the long rotations, and for retaking A, chances are they have horseshoe control. So what you want to do as a CT when you're retaking is you just have to have smart organization. Like, I wish I could give you guys the perfect answer on how to retake on this, but it all comes down to just communication and organization for retaking. Okay, like I said, chances are your 2 A players are dead. So what you have are 2 B players rotating and a mid player. Which your mid player's probably an opper, so he's just going to hold CT, and he's going to be peeking for people to peek with their ops or whatever. So he's here with an op. Your 2 CTs should probably stick together. So one way to do it is to have both of them come through upper, and how you do this is you come through upper, you clear all this, and then if you have any flashes left, you maybe, you know, flash deep or whatever, just make sure that you're flashing horseshoe. And then as you're flashing, your opper would come in and start clearing like pit and cat and all this stuff, and you'd post up because chances are the bomb's planted right there. And then your 2 rifles would run across upper, flashing if there's anyone in horseshoe, killing these people, and then coming in and pretty much posting up on a guy deep dungeon, and then your opper would probably be looking cat, and your 3rd guy would be diffusing. Otherwise, you'd have to post up on wherever you know they are. If there's guys in, if you know the guy's dungeon, then you'd all post up there, or the last 2 of you would post up there. You don't really want to tap the bomb and then try to chase him in this spot, and the reason for that is this is such an advantageous spot. Like I said earlier, this is a good spot to be post plant, because if you don't see he's on it, you can just run back if you hear him pushing you and get behind this wall, and then he has to run all the way back and get on it. If I was diffusing, I'd probably just tap it, and I'd look like I was diffusing like this and wait for him to peek, and then probably just shoot him, because he wouldn't know if I'm on it or off it at this point right here. And if he's cat, you just want to have your 2nd player get a really good angle and not miss his shot. The other way, that'd be the coming through upper and spawn way. The other way I'd say is you'd probably have your opper rotating again, so your opper would be locating everything like that. Your 2 B players could have pushed through B and they'd come cat, and they can come up cat with a smoke, and they can just spam everything, check everything, make sure they're not pit, whatever. And then once you know they're not anywhere else in sight, and you know they're not upper because your mid guy should have heard it, or your team should have called it, you can just flash, come up, clear this, peek it, clear everything, and then do the same exact thing. Get a guy on bomb and post up on the guy that's going to be deep dungeon. The other alternative I'd say is maybe sending 2 people through door, or 1 person through door, have 1 person go up cat, and have this guy just kind of lurk through door really quickly, and this guy would be controlling the entire retake. He'd be like, alright, I'm walking behind him now, you know, and he'd come up and he'd maybe kill one and then flash out or something and just get the kills while your opper's posted up and you have a guy coming in from cat too. There's a lot of possibilities to retake this site. With organization it's pretty easy, but it can be very difficult because the long rotates. So like when the other team's making calls that things are happening at A, you might want to consider fast flanking if you're at B, just pushing through, or playing a stacked site. Like, I don't want to get too much into CT setups on this, but what I like doing is having an opper or even a rifler come up here and just have your teammate throw a one-way smoke first and just you can lurk through this. And I think with the new update they kind of screwed this up. Yeah, you can actually see through this 100% even if there's 2 because of the new update, the light. You can basically see anyone that comes up. So you just want to work smokes here, and then once you see him, flash him, fall back, and call your teammate to rotate over. Your other teammate can be playing a really quick rotate spot like near jail room, or if you want to play passive setup, he could be coming towards CT spawn, looking at this connector, and then you could have your usual mid opper come over here and op A and have 2 riflers there still. But this isn't a CT setup article, this is a post plan article, so I'm just going to talk about retakes at B really quick, and that'll be that. So to retake B, it's extremely difficult, and the way I do it is probably, if your 2 B players are dead, again, you're going to have your mid opper over here posting up on things, making sure they're not low or whatnot. Like I said, it's a bad idea to hold sight, but it can be very difficult to take sometimes, especially if people are in pit. But as long as you call where you're flashing and where you're looking, it makes retakes a lot easier. If you have 2 people, your 2 A players coming through jail, first player, be like, alright, I'm flashing pit, and I'm going in and looking right. Second player, alright, I'm flashing lower and looking left. So, you flash here, you come in and look right. I don't know, this guy would have flashed right while you flashed pit. So you come in and clear this after you flash pit, your teammate comes in and looks pit, now you know sight's 100% clear. There can't be anyone in sight, so you have to start thinking about what else you can do. Alright, they're probably not, your opper's probably in upper now, posting on lower. Alright, that's great. So you're going to look at, your opper's going to look at lower, he's like, alright, I'm posted on lower, let's tap the bomb. You tap the bomb if it's right here, or even right here. And if you have enough time, you can get off it and look at lower or upper, make sure he's not on that up close wall. Your other rifler should just be posted on upper for him to peek out, and you have a great crossfire. That's perfect. You can't ask for a better setup than that, and all you have to do is hit your shots. If your opper hits the guy that peeks lower to kill the diffuser, and if this guy kills the guy that peeks from upper, you should have no problem. And this is all assuming you do a good job clearing, so you know there's nobody flanking you and whatnot. Like I said, it's long rotates on this map, so if you get eager early enough to come down here and peek and make sure it's clear or whatever, you know, maybe it's a good idea to fast flank, like push through cat or something and just start fast flanking. And if you're going to fast flank all the way through vents and come B, you really just got to apply pressure while the rest of your team starts retaking. If that means, you know, coming here, maybe tossing a flash and just giving them a lot of grief so they don't kill you, so you're constantly applying pressure and they can't worry about the bomb. And that way what you do is once you get control of the site, you can tap the bomb and then your guy can start pushing up and getting kills on these guys here. Or even if you're working quicker, you can use flashes and do a really quick retake. If the T's are holding site and you do a quick retake through the flank, there should be no reason why you can't win, because if you're coming up and you know there's like a guy, you can get this kill, you know, chances are this guy in pit, so maybe flash out the box, just clear sight, kill the guy double, kill a guy big or whatever and whatnot, and then chances are you have everything clear except for upper, and then you can just tap the bomb and have everyone look at it and find out where it is. The best thing I can tell you guys post-plant to do when you're CT retaking is the quickest opportunity you can, tap the bomb, and the T's will peek, reveal where they are, and then you just have to communicate and be extremely smart at finding out where they're at. Season's a really tough map to retake on, like I said, for the rotation, so just play an aware setup and you should be able to hopefully have a successful retake and have smart post-plant, whether you're a CT or a T. Just a few quick tips. As a T, just always discuss where you're going post-plant and what you're looking at, if you're peeking or if you're not peeking. Discuss who's peeking first in certain situations when the bomb's down, and you guys should be fine. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. Hope you enjoyed this article, and I and others will hopefully have more commentaries out as soon as the season starts in 13 days. We're in the middle of Pro-Am right now, so should get some decent demos from that. But other than that, hope you enjoyed it. Have a good night.